Okay, good morning, my dear students. How are you? I feel very happy to meet you again. Hopefully, you are watching the live class and also enjoying your um, study. That is, you are doing well at home and reading books regularly, attending online classes regularly. And you have our honorable education minister has already declared that your uh, physical classes will be held very soon. That is, our schools and colleges are going to be running again. So it's a good news for you. And at the same time, you must take you must maintain health safety, and at home you must maintain rules and regulations regarding your good health, your own well-being, because if you are not well, you cannot study well. So at first you have to be physically very fit, then you can study peacefully, with attention you can study. Anyway, so do you remember what we are talking about the previous day? I see you can guess what we talked about the previous day. And we are talking about a very interesting topic the previous day, completing incomplete sentences. Still I am talking about this because this is a big issue, and many students get upset when completing incomplete sentences, because doing these we need to follow some rules, grammatical rules. If you don't follow the grammatical rules, you may make some mistakes. Anyway, and the previous day I talk about completing sentences or conditional sentences. That is, and also, do you remember how many conditional sentences I referred to the previous day? Primarily, there are three major conditional sentences. They are first conditional, second conditional, and third conditional sentences. But there is one more conditional. We call it zero conditional sentence. So first conditional, second conditional, and the zero conditional. We will talk about these four conditional sentences: zero conditional, first conditional sentence, second conditional sentence, and third conditional sentence. Okay, and I talked different features of conditional sentences. Now I am going to talk about the other things other things needed for completing sentences. First, we'll talk about how to complete sentences with zero conditional sentences. Okay. When should we write zero conditional sentences? Look at this example. Say, if it rains, look at this sentence. I have written, if it rains, soil gets wet. Here in the first clause, that is in the if clause, if it rains, present indefinite tense has been used. In the second clause, that is in the dependent clause, same thing, soil gets wet. same tense has been used, that is present indefinite tense. So what is the basic principle of zero conditional sentence? Normally, anything scientific, anything universal truth, that is, if we talk about a universal truth, if we talk about a scientific truth or scientific formula or rule or natural principle, then we use present tense in both principal clause and the subordinate clause. Bear in mind, if we write a sentence about a universal truth, about a scientific truth, or any scientific formula, or any natural principle, natural rule of the world, then we should use present tense, not only in if clause but also in the subordinate clause. That is, both in principal clause and subordinate clause we use present tense when we talk about a universal truth, a scientific truth, or any natural principle. Look at, this is natural, or also it is scientific, that if it rains, soil gets wet. In Bangla, I like to explain it. For example, যদি বৃষ্টি হয় তাহলে মাটি ভিজে যায়. This is a scientific truth and everyone understands this, or even we call it the natural principle. And that's why you need to use present tense, because it happens always. If you write past tense or future tense, it means that if you write future tense, it means that it will happen only in future. It doesn't happen at present, or it didn't happen in the past. Again, if you write in past tense, it means that it happened only in the past, at present it does not happen, in future it doesn't happen. It will not happen. But this is a case, this is a natural event. It happens in the same way always, all over the earth. সারা পৃথিবীতে সর্বসময় একই ঘটনা যে বৃষ্টি হলে মাটি ভিজে যায়. This is a universal truth. When you write a universal truth in a conditional sentence, you should use present tense in the both clauses, that is in principal clause as well as the subordinate clause. Now if I give you an example, look at this, number 2. If sun rises, for example, if it is given in your exam, for example, this incomplete sentence is given in your examination. If sun rises, what you will write? How to complete? The grammatical rule is that it would be a sentence of a scientific truth or universal truth. Therefore, the following clause should be written in present indefinite tense. What can we write? If sun rises, we get light. We get light. Look at this clause. It is also written in present indefinite tense. The subordinate clause, the if clause, is written in present indefinite tense, and the subordinate clause has also been written in present indefinite tense. This is the basic thing of writing sentences with zero conditional sentence. Now, I'd like to talk about the first conditional sentence. First conditional. First conditional sentence, I am giving a very simple example. It will be helpful for you. If you learn English you will get a good job. This is just an example thing. Learning English, that is, for getting a good job, learning English is not enough. But this may be on condition. Take it just for an example. If you learn English, you will get a good job. How many clauses are there? On. 2. That is subordinate clause, principal clause. That is if clause, and the other clause is the principal. If clause is the subordinate clause, dependent clause, and the other clause is principal clause. But look at the relationship of tense. Relationship of tense here, if you learn English, the if clause is written in present tense. But the principal clause has been written in subordinate clause and the principal. The subordinate clause or if clause is written in present, that is present indefinite tense, that is present tense. The principal clause has been written in future tense or future probable, we call it. Because you see here after subject we see there is auxiliary verb will, then the base form of the principal verb. And here we definitely see subject plus base form of the principal verb. This is definitely written in present indefinite tense, and that is in future indefinite tense. What is the tense relation between these two here? In first conditional sentence, always bear in mind, the principal clause should be written in present tense, and the subordinate clause, that is the if clause, should be written in present tense, and the other clause, that is the principal clause, should be written in either in future indefinite or any kind of future, or instead of future you can use future probable, that is using modal auxiliary verbs like may, or even you can use must, even you can use can. So what is the basic structure of first conditional sentence? That is, you have to use present tense in the if clause, present tense. Next, in the principal clause, you have to use subject plus will, may, or can, then the base form of the verb, that is the infinitive form of the verb. Only this is the grammatical principle of writing first conditional sentence. That is, use present tense and then use subject plus will or may or can. You can use, sometimes you can use will, sometimes you can use may, sometimes you can use can, because it depends on the sense you apply in the sentence. So, if I give you an example, one more example of incomplete sentence, you will better understand. Look at this example. If my mother goes goes to market, you have to complete this sentence. This is an incomplete sentence. If my mother goes to market, for example, take for example that it has come in your exam. You have to complete it. How to do it? Look at the tense used in this sentence and this subordinate clause, that is if clause. If my mother goes to market, it is written in present tense. So you have to understand that if you want to complete the sentence, the principal clause that you are going to write, the following clause should be written in future form or future probable, that we call. That is, you have to use subject, then will or may or can. That is, you have four options. Most of the time, there are some other that is modal auxiliary verbs. Mainly we use after subject, that is, we have to write a subject here. Then we can write will. If you don't like to use will, you can use may. If you don't like to use may, you can use can. So either may or can or will we can use, or even sometimes we may use must. So then how can we complete this? If my mother goes to market, she, subject will be she because mother is feminine. She, okay. Then auxiliary, that is modal verb, she will. The main verb, she'll bring me a shirt. Oh. Okay. Look at this sentence. If my mother goes to market, she will bring a shirt for me. Here, the incomplete sentence has been completed. How? Because look at this. The subordinate clause, the if clause, has been written in present tense, and we have used in the next clause, that is, the principal clause has been written maintaining the structure subject plus will, then the main verb, then other, that is the object. So this is the normal way of completing sentences using first conditional. And I think you have probably understood writing sentences using the first conditional. And your favorite teacher, Mamun sir, has already come to take Bangla class. So I don't like to extend my lecture anymore. Thank you very much. Hope to meet you again. Allah Hafiz.